Welcome back, and we're on episode 2 of Schwananigans. I'm Andrea, and I'm back here with Shelley. Shelley, how's it going today?
It's going okay. It's going okay. A little tired, but other than that, it's going okay.
That's right, you've had a busy week. How was it getting your youngest off to college?
Wasn't bad. We got them moved in okay. They're instead of staying in residence, they decided to rent a house with their girlfriend and two other people. So that was fun. We've already been told that he's missing things, so that will require another trip. But other than that, he says everything is going good. He likes his teachers. He's got a biology professor that's done infectious disease research, which is something that he's interested in. So he's looking forward to the year.
Right on. I want to hear all about it too. I love biology, so I want to hear what he's learning
All
because
right.
everything changes so fast.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this week's episode because we are interviewing guests from an event called Scenes from a Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just where people portray historic figures from Oshawa within a cemetery because obviously they are dead. And so I just think it's really cool bringing people back to life and talking about their past.
Right.
And so I actually saw a news article that it goes with it, but doesn't go with it,
Okay.
but it kind of does. So I just happened to see two talented ladies who are makeup artists from the Durham region area. They are nominated for the 77th Primetime Creative Arts Emmy Awards. That's like the Emmy Awards for all the people who work in the background. It's for all those professionals who are in like design, makeup. They do set design, casting, things like that.
Good.
Yeah. And so what they're up for is for outstanding period or fantasy sci-fi makeup, non-prosthetic.
That's very cool.
It is because the show that they're working on is What We Do in the Shadows. Have you seen that before?
I have seen a few episodes of that before. It's actually a really fun show, and I think that you and your husband would enjoy it. It's a little snarky. You got a couple of the vampires that are, you know, they got their moments, and then you've got one guy who likes to think he's the boss of the house, but nobody ever actually listens to him. And, and then they have their run-ins with the vampire council and just all kinds of interesting stuff. And it's filmed documentary style. So it's like you've been, this documentary team has been invited to follow them around as they try to work their way through modern day society.
I love when they do shows like that, like in The Office, where it's a mockumentary where they're following them around, but it's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, then you'll probably like What We Do in the Shadows.
Absolutely. And it looks like they're up against some pretty good competition. They're up against shows like House of the Dragon, Monsters, The Righteous Gemstones. The makeup artists are Cherie Snow and Lorna Thibodeau. It's great for them to be nominated and good for them. And
Well,
I
good.
can't wait to get started on that show.
Well, good luck. We'll see if they actually manage to pull a win out.
Good luck, ladies. All right. And so without further ado, we're going to get started here with our guests from Scenes in the Cemetery. I hope you enjoy. Let's play it right now. All right. Well, everyone, we're on with the show. We went through all the previous events, and we're just going to move on to our next guest right now. We have this really cool event coming up, and it's called Scenes from a Cemetery. It takes place on September 13th and 14th. That would be Saturday and Sunday, where you can take a tour through Oshawa's Union Cemetery. And along the way, you'll meet some exceptional people from Oshawa's past and hear their stories. So we're speaking with the organizers and the very talented actors of the event. Today with us, we do have Lisa Terich as well as Rick Kerr, who are part of this event. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to ask you some questions today. So I did give a little bit of a brief description. Was that accurate, or is there anything you'd like to add?
No, it sounded pretty accurate to me. As you said, it's a tour through Union Cemetery, unlike any other, because rather than having an Oshawa Museum guide leading you from grave to grave and simply telling you about the person, that Oshawa Museum guide will be leading you to the various grave sites where you will, in fact, be meeting these historical people. So, for example, you're going to walk to the grave of Dr. S.J. Phillips and hear from an actor portraying Dr. S.J. Phillips. So you'll learn more about his life, in many cases, in his own words.
That's really cool. All right. And how did this project come to be?
Well, I can tell you that. So my very first year as maybe my second year as a counselor, at budget meetings, community groups would come in and make a pitch to the finance committee. And one year, the Oshawa Museum came in and talked about their big fundraiser they did, and they charged $5 a person, and it raised them about $200. And I thought, I think there's maybe a way that we could raise some more money for the museum. And I have an acting background, so I said, how would you like it if we did a tour where groups of people would go from gravesite to gravesite and meet the person buried there in period costume, who would talk to them about their life and answer questions so they could feel like they actually relived part of Oshawa's history. And I remember Laura Suchin, who was the executive director at the time, she just went, cool. And it was on. And so we started into it. That's when I met Lisa. She's a ball of energy and just a superb organizer. And I do sort of the creative side. And we have a wonderful relationship with Oshawa Little Theatre, who provide the costumes. And Lisa graciously cleans them all before she sends them back. So Oshawa's happy. They get promotion. The museum raises about $3,200.
Nice.
And the actors I know that I can put into the production, get a chance to do something very different than learning a script and following a set production. It's very invigorating. It's very naturalistic. And the people really feel like they've actually met those historical persons, and they've really learned more about their city, and it makes them very proud. So we think it's just a great event all around.
Right on. We think it's awesome too. And if we were taught history that way, I'd probably pay better attention to it.
More interactive, yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So that was something I was curious about, whether it was an interactive process or was it just go to point A, listen to them talk, go to point B, listen to them talk. But we can ask questions.
You can. And sometimes, depending on the actor and their level of comfort or how they are telling their story, then certainly they greet you as you come and sit down or stand at their spot. And sometimes that leads to just some chit chat. So it's not a memorized script. It's just them having a conversation with interested people. It's just that naturalistic.
That's phenomenal.
All right. And so without giving it all away, what are some of the characters you'd be playing?
Well, I don't think we'd be giving it away by listing who are you going to meet.
We hope that actually draws in more ticket sales for
Yeah.
this
All
event.
right.
All right. So who are they going to meet this year?
Well, for instance, why don't is it okay if I introduce the guys and you introduce the ladies?
Yeah,
Volunteer? So the first person that audiences will meet is Eli Edmondson. And he was a businessman, very successful one. And he was one of the owners of a place called Prospect House. And he transformed it, but I won't say into what. And very successfully. So that's the first person that they will meet. And he's actually interred in the mausoleum. So for some people who've driven by the cemetery and have looked and said, I wonder what's inside that place, this is a wonderful opportunity to do both. See what it's like inside and meet one of the people who actually resides inside. And then we go over to Mary Ritson.
We go over to Mary Ritson. If the name Ritson Road is sounding familiar to people, there's a reason why. It's named after her family. They own property along what became Ritson Road. So the actress who's portraying her is going to be sharing her life, what it was like to be an early settler in the area, talking about the legacy of the Ritson family. And I believe after that, we travel along through the cemetery to a woman named Alice Carswell Houston. And she is going to spend a little bit of time talking about not only her life and her marriages, some were a little more successful than others, But a big part of what she will be talking about will be her time as a student at Oshawa's DeMille Ladies College. It was a ladies' college which was established in the 1870s and was in existence through until the 1890s. Not a lot of people know about that. And this actress will be sharing that story. And then from there, I think we're going over to
Dr. S.J. Phillips. And this year, Dr. S.J. Phillips Public School celebrated 100 years.
Yep.
It was known by a different name to start with, but in honor of Dr. S.J. Phillips's contributions to the community, both as a dentist, but also as a strong supporter of the school system, they chose to rename the school in his honor. Very interesting man, and people will get a chance to meet him, after which they will come to visit one of the McLaughlin family named
Isabel McLaughlin. She was one of the 5 daughters. Don't ask me which of the 5 and what order. She was one of the 5 daughters of Colonel R.S. Sam McLaughlin and Adelaide. And not only was she part of this family, which has a huge legacy in the city of Oshawa, but she was quite notable in her own right because she was a very prolific painter. Pieces of her work are in galleries from as local as here in Oshawa at the RMG, the Robert McLaughlin Gallery, but going across the country, she's got pieces, I believe, in the AGO, the National Art Gallery in Ottawa, and we're excited to be sharing her story. And then we are wrapping up with
Colonel James Mulligan, who I have the honor of telling his story, or if you will, becoming James Mulligan for the day. And again, it's all in period piece. He was born in and around 1814, 1816. Even he's not sure, and there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
And he had quite a life. He had a North American reputation for his escapades, and I won't tell you what those are. You'll have to hear about them. Suffice to say that he was also one of the owners of Prospect House. So there's kind of an interesting transition of owners there and how it ended up. And I guess it's not going to be a giveaway because the last owner was Colonel Sam McLaughlin, and he actually tore down Prospect Place. It was a park, as it was called, and built Parkwood. So there's an interesting piece there. James won't spend too much time on that. He'll be wanting to tell you about his exploits, which are many.
Sounds very interesting.
Newspapers all over North America were talking about this man from Oshawa because of what he happened to get up to in his personal life.
and we'll let you know that if you come on the tour. So those are the 6 people. We generally try to be very egalitarian and have 3 of each if we can. And this year's no exception. And they're very, very diverse, from a very emotional person, a lover of music, to a very solid businessman, to a regimental person in the military, to an artist. So there's a great diversity of people that you'll meet on the day. And I guess that would bring us to tickets, wouldn't it?
It absolutely would. Yeah, tickets are still for sale. We are selling them via the Oshawa Museum's online ticketing platform. So you can either follow the very long links in quiltix.ca and then a very long URL after that, or you can simply go to oshawamuseum.org/what's-on and the link for tickets.
That's great. And I was going to bring it up also. Honestly, the easiest way I found tickets is I just Googled scenes from a cemetery and it came right up.
There you go.
So it was simplified, but all those links definitely get some tickets. Again, that's going to be on September 13th and 14th. What time again do you guys start that?
Well, it goes 2 to 4, but I would like to say one other thing. The tickets are $20, but all of the actors are donating their time, and the theater company's donating the costumes. So every single penny raised goes to the Oshawa Museum. I just wanted to make sure.
No,
none of us get paid.
Nobody gets paid. Yeah.
No,
I was going to actually mention that too, because I know our friend Paul participates and he does it. The actors don't get paid.
Not for this. Sometimes they do, but they're very happy to donate their time for such a worthy cause.
Oh, absolutely.
And on behalf of the museum, we are so grateful for their support. I mean, we are able to provide the historical facts and the information. And like, that's what we do day in and day out, is we live and breathe Oshawa's history. But we wouldn't be able to take the creation and the creativity and just the absolute charisma that these actors had and are bringing them to life. So absolute huge thank yous go out to the actors, go out to our support at Oshawa's Union Cemetery and their staff, because they are opening their doors, and literally the doors of the mausoleum, which is normally a closed building. They offer continued support, city staff in providing chairs and tables for us for the event, and of course Oshawa Little Theatre in providing the costuming for the event.
And it goes rain or shine.
Yes, so get ready with rain boots if that is the case. Otherwise, we hope for a nice sunny day. The very first year, it rained. It was just a gray, miserable day, and I was beside myself because I knew that this was a big event. It was, a lot was on the line for it. And of course, it was rainy. It was gray. It was miserable. And I don't know if you remember this, Rick, but quite a few of the guests came to us and said, that was great. It added to the ambiance of the event. I thought it was,
Yeah, very somber.
Gray, rainy day.
These quote dead people, but they came to life. Like, it was fascinating to meet these people. But yeah, the rain, not that I'm putting in an order for rain. But that year, like, people said, no, I did. One year, the heavens opened up. That was my aunt from England was over that year. And they actually, because of a threat of maybe lightning, they called everybody into the mausoleum. And then it passed over, and they said, okay, your tour guides will take you back to where you were. And we just carried on from there. So rain or shine, but hopefully shine.
So how many years have you been doing this now? Like, this year will be year number?
Well, we first started in 2016.
Yeah.
So we did 16, 17, 18, 19. Had to go on pause in 2021, and we stayed paused, right? I mean,
just decided to
just
take
a little
break.
thing called a pandemic. No big deal. We were also on pause for 22, simply because we get the ball rolling for this at the very beginning of the year. And at the beginning of 2022, things were still locked down.
Yeah.
So we knew that we wouldn't have the proper prep time to get something put together. So 4 years before the pandemic, and this is our third year post-pandemic.
Number 7 coming up.
Nice. Number 7.
Yeah. I think all numbers are lucky, but if you want to think of 7 as being lucky, there you go.
Okay, and then one more question that I have personally is, and it's gone.
No, that's not a question.
That's okay. Oh, how do you decide who you're going to, like, is it the same people every year?
No.
So how do you decide each year which member of the cemetery you're going to
Depending on Lisa's schedule,
Mhm.
mine to a certain extent, but really her schedule as to how things are shaping up work-wise at the museum. Sometimes it's late December, sometimes it's early January, and they say, yeah, it's time to sit down here over a coffee, and she'll do her homework, and Lisa will bring forward a possible selection of men and women. And, like, we hear the bios and we look at the fit, but we also think about what's going on in the community that year. So, for instance, this year, earlier on, was the 100th anniversary of S.J. Phillips. Well, that was a given.
Right.
Last year was the 100th anniversary of the city of Oshawa. So we actually did something unique. We had a debate. And one of the fellows was W.J. Terich, who built the Masonic Temple. He built the Janosh. He built Richmond Road Public School, his company. So he moderated the debate, and two of the people, one was a butcher from the South End who was dead set against becoming a city and amalgamating Cedardale into it, and the other was a politician, Conant, who was very much in favor, and it was kind of unique. We had a little debate, but that's what we look at. What's going on in the community? Is there connection to any one of these in particular? Otherwise, they're all just fascinating people, and it almost doesn't matter. But the hook is always a nice thing for one or two.
Absolutely. Okay.
It's always very collaborative. And as Rick said, I mean, the museum, we tell the story of the history of Oshawa, and we've researched quite a number of the individuals who are buried in Union. So it's a matter of looking at anniversaries, looking at things of significance, but also looking at just stories that would really show well in an event.
And have you noticed more participation, like more people have heard about it, learned about it, maybe from somebody who went 1 year, and so you're seeing the numbers growing of people who are coming?
I think we've been pretty much sold out every year.
Nice.
And some we've had to change the date this year. Last year we had to change it from the year before because there were just some things going on. But generally it's the same time every year. And people just take a look at their schedule and they say, can I make this or can't I? But they always have a good word to say, well, I can't go, but you should go because this is just so interesting and so much fun.
And like many things, it did, the pandemic brought it to a bit of a stall.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really great momentum and then those couple of years off. So it's taken us a few years to rebuild, but really, as Rick said, it's been sold out and just positive, glowing reviews from everyone who has attended.
Fantastic.
I think it's fabulous that you guys can remember all of this about all these different characters. Is there like a process that you can recommend that helps memorize all the research that you like?
Yeah, there is, but I'm not telling you. Because that's proprietary. I mean, I'll share it with my actors because it works and it creates a conversation as opposed to. And now I will tell you the story of P.J. Smith, who was a person living in Oshawa. No, somebody's memorized a script. And you might as well just stand up there and read it.
Yeah.
That's not what this is.
You
This is
really want it to be a
conversation.
flowing conversation.
It's funny you mentioned that because when we first started setting this up, I thought it was great that actors are taking jobs back from the robots because it made me think of the animatronic robots at Disney World. And I thought it was great. It's real people, so you can ask different questions.
no CGI,
No CGI,
no AI, that stuff.
Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, different times.
Yeah.
There's just I, right? Yeah, that's what the actor is. So, yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity for people to learn more about their city, just to develop a little bit more civic pride,
Which is fantastic.
Mhm.
I mean, I've been here a long time, and like I said in our first podcast, there's a lot that goes on around here that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
So we're trying to broaden our horizons and get more invested in, what does Oshawa have to offer people for entertainment or services like that kind of stuff. And that's, I think, the aim that Andrea wanted to hit with this whole podcast was to get the information out there. We have a lot of stuff in Oshawa.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of things.
And working here at the museum, I hear people walk through the doors all the time and say, I didn't know Oshawa has a museum. It's very hard to be a tourist in your own backyard.
Yeah.
It can sometimes be hard to hear about all the great things going on. So doing something like this, helping to get the word out is just fantastic.
Yeah. Anything else?
I'm not sure if I asked this already, but do either of you have a particularly favorite character that you like to play? I think we kind of touched on a little bit.
From within scenes from the cemetery?
Yeah.
Right.
I feel very privileged to be able to do each of the ones that I have done. And I don't like to pick favorites. I just don't. They're all so unique. I mean, one of the people Dr. David Hoyt, and here was a guy who brought his practice to Oshawa, pretty much solved what's the name of that disease you get from the water? Cholera. He solved the cholera epidemic. That's one of his things. But he was also the driving force behind setting up the Oshawa Hospital. What a guy, right? The first job I ever did with Samuel Pedler was really the first historian in Oshawa. And he had a compendium of all this research and stories that he picked up. And they have the book here at the museum. So, for me to say, well, which one did you prefer? I can't tell you that because they're both fascinating people. And I think if you ask the actors, they get so attached to their person because they become them. Right. And so it's not like they can pick a favorite. But this is the thing. It's such a different kind of acting, right? It's being.
Right.
You're supposed to do that on the stage too, but you have a script to recite. This isn't. This is a story to tell, different kind of story.
You never know what somebody's going to ask you.
Correct. And
So-
and most people actually, if you do it well and whatever, they get to the end, they go, wow. And then you segue them to the next person. And then away they go. They're looking forward to the next one. You do get the odd person that hangs around and says, so one guy said to me one year, so Rick, what about I said, excuse me? Who is this Rick that you're, and he goes, I said, oh, he said, okay. Thank you, William. He said, you're welcome, sir. Have a great day. And you just sing character, right?
I like people who can do that.
Well, and you know what? I've had some very good actors who said, no, Rick, I'm not comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
I like a script, go off stage. Then it's my turn to go on. I go on, do my thing, and come off. Wow, okay. Because I used to do traveling murder mystery evenings, where once you're on, and you're on for the whole evening. And sometimes you can do it as a weekend.
Yes.
So, I really like this because you're totally engrossed in it, and you just kind of become that, right? And you're never off. But for some actors,
It's
I would
hard.
say, okay, no names, but I know enough not to ask them again because they're not comfortable.
Fair enough.
But for those who like it, they love it.
All right. And is there any other things that you want the people of Oshawa to know about this event?
I would say that this is your opportunity as a citizen to do a couple of really good things. One is to do yourself a favor and to learn more about your city and what it was like, so you'd be more proud of it. And the other is a fun way to really make a donation to a very worthwhile community organization, which is the Oshawa Museum. Can't get any better day than that.
And if you're not able to make it out this year, that's okay. Hopefully we'll see you next year. It's a yearly event. It always takes place in September. And I think even though we have that pandemic pause, I think we need to celebrate 10 years next year in 2026.
We'll cover that also. We look forward
Yay,
to
there
it.
you go.
Looking forward to another chat.
Yeah,
Andrea,
absolutely.
thank you too for doing this. It's just another way for us to help get the word out.
Yep.
I just want to thank you for taking your time and showing your interest to help us out with this.
Oh, it was our pleasure.
Yeah, we're happy to do it. And I just want to remind people that it is at Oshawa Union Cemetery, which is 760 King Street West in Oshawa. I'm familiar. I know some people there, but just for those who don't.
It's right at King at Thornton. Easy way to think of it. Yeah.
All right. And so again, thank you so much for taking the time to come meet with us and tell us all about this. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it. And we're just going to remind the good folks that we do have Convergence Art Festival, or rather the Convergence Art Movement, that is coming September 19th and 20. And I think, Shelley, you're pretty excited for that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But before that,
Scenes from a cemetery.
on the 13th and 17th,
I think I'm going to be taking a stroll through some grave sites.
there you
I think so too. And I think I'm glad it's during the day.
Yeah.
Well, I picked that because, and in agreement with the museum, I did one called the Spirit Walk in Pickering, and it's at night. And that's all well and good, and it's on pathways, and they're all lit with torches. But you know what? There were some seniors that's a little iffy.
Yeah.
And the routes that we take are so over grass a lot of the time. I just thought I don't want seniors saying, well, I'm not going to go, first of all, because it's at night, and secondly, because it's on potentially uneven ground.
Yeah.
But
safety.
during the day, no problem. And I think it's just that much more personal.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love the Spirit Walk. That's what it's for. It's spooky. It's at night. But ours is during the day. It's safe. And so come on out and have some fun.
Yeah. That's going to be
It
fun.
used to be when I was younger, I was scared of the ghost. As I age, and we're scared of the uneven ground.
Yeah.
That's tripping and killing myself.
You are speaking the truth.
That's exactly
The
it.
ghost beneath the ground.
That's it. That's it.
Not to spook you out too much. Anyway, thanks for having us.
you
And
both.
Thank you for coming and joining us.
yeah,
All right. Thank you so much.
ready.
And so pretty much that concludes the second episode of Schwananigans. I hope all of you enjoyed that. I had a really fun time this week putting this all together. And Shelley, do you have anything to add before we go?
No, definitely think I will be picking up tickets for Scenes from the Cemetery and checking that out this year. And hopefully other people will do the same. Looking forward to Convergence, and we will take it from there. But I will see you next week.
All right. See you next week, Shelley, and everyone in Oshawa. Have a good day. Bye-bye now.